Chapter 78. Then Adam said to Eve, Behold, the children are grown up, we must think of finding wives for them. Then Eve answered, How can we do it? Then Adam said to her, We will join Abel's sister in marriage to Cain, and Cain's sister to Abel. Then said Eve to Adam, I do not like Cain because he is hard-hearted, but let them bide until we offer up unto the Lord in their behalf. And Adam said no more. Meanwhile Satan came to Cain in the figure of a man of the field, and said to him, Behold, Adam and Eve have taken counsel together about the marriage of you two, and they have agreed to marry Abel's sister to thee, and thy sister to him. But if it was not that I love thee, I would not have told thee this thing. Yet if thou wilt take my advice and hearken to me, I will bring thee on thy wedding day beautiful robes, gold and silver in plenty, and my relations will attend thee. Then Cain said with joy, Where are thy relations? And Satan answered, My relations are in a garden in the north, whither I once meant to bring thy father Adam. But he would not accept my offer. But thou, if thou wilt receive my words, and if thou wilt come unto me after thy wedding, thou shalt rest from the misery in which thou art, and thou shalt rest and be better off than thy father Adam. At these words of Satan Cain opened his ears and leaned towards his speech. And he did not remain in the field, but he went to Eve his mother, and beat her, and cursed her, and said to her, Why are ye about taking my sister to wed her to my brother? Am I dead? His mother, however, quieted him, and sent him to the field where he had been. Then when Adam came, she told him of what Cain had done. But Adam grieved, and held his peace, and said not a word. Then on the morrow Adam said unto Cain his son, Take of thy sheep young and good, and offer them up unto thy God, and I will speak to thy brother, to make unto his God an offering of corn. They both hearkened to their father Adam, and they took their offerings, and offered them up on the mountain by the altar. But Cain behaved haughtily towards his brother, and thrust him from the altar, and would not let him offer up his gift upon the altar. But he offered his own upon it, with a proud heart, full of guile and fraud. But as for Abel, he set up stones that were near at hand, and upon that he offered up his gift with a heart humble and free from guile. Cain was then standing by the altar on which he had offered up his gift, and he cried unto God to accept his offering. But God did not accept it from him, neither did a divine fire come down to consume his offering. But he remained standing over against the altar out of humor and wrath, looking towards his brother Abel, to see if God would accept his offering or not. And Abel prayed unto God to accept his offering. Then a divine fire came down and consumed his offering, and God smelled the sweet savor of his offering, because Abel loved him and rejoiced in him. And because God was well pleased with him, he sent him an angel of light in the figure of man who had partaken of his offering, because he had smelled the sweet savor of his offering. And they comforted Abel and strengthened his heart. But Cain was looking on all that took place at his brother's offering, and was wroth on account of it. Then he opened his mouth and blasphemed God, because he had not accepted his offering. But God said unto Cain, Wherefore is thy countenance sad? Be righteous, that I may accept thy offering. Not against me hast thou murmured, but against thyself. And God said this to Cain in rebuke, and because he abhorred him and his offering. And Cain came down from the altar, his color changed, and of a woeful countenance, and came to his father and mother, and told them all that had befallen him. And Adam grieved much because God had not accepted Cain's offering. But Abel came down rejoicing, and with a gladsome heart, and told his father and mother how God had accepted his offering. And they rejoiced at it, and kissed his face. And Abel said to his father, Because Cain thrust me from the altar, and would not allow me to offer my gift upon it, I made an altar for myself, and offered my gift upon it. But when Adam heard this, he was very sorry, because it was the altar he had built at first, and upon which he had offered his own gifts. As to Cain, he was so sullen and so angry that he went into the field, where Satan came to him, and said to him, Since thy brother Abel has taken refuge with thy father Adam, because thou didst thrust him from the altar, they have kissed his face, and they rejoice over him far more than over thee. When Cain heard these words of Satan, he was filled with rage, and he let no one know. But he was laying wait to kill his brother until he brought him into the cave, and then said to him, O brother, the country is so beautiful, and there are such beautiful and pleasurable trees in it, and charming to look at. But brother, thou hast never been one day in the field to take thy pleasure therein. Today, O my brother, I very much wish thou wouldest come with me into the field, to enjoy thyself, and to bless our fields and our flocks, for thou art righteous, and I love thee much, O my brother. But thou hast estranged thyself from me. Then Abel consented to go with his brother Cain into the field. But before going out, Cain said to Abel, Wait for me until I fetch a staff, because of wild beasts. Then Abel stood waiting in his innocence. But Cain the forward fetched a staff and went out, And they began, Cain and his brother Abel, to walk in the way, Cain talking to him and comforting him to make him forget everything.